Okay, so today we are going to talk about that dumpster fire of a debate. This is, of course, Griffin Lamp. I'm coming at you from Woodbury University in the midst of this crisis in America. Thank you for coming if you did. And let's get right into this debate. Let's talk about this debate. So, the debate was, like I said, it could only be described as a dumpster fire. Trump interrupted more than a child who's at a birthday party and didn't get a piece of cake. So, he just interrupted nonstop, and it was quite terrible. Biden did pretty good for Biden. However, if Biden didn't like fall asleep on stage and or like get wheeled out by a wheelchair, I think he did better than what we all expected. In fact, that's better than I expected. I thought Biden was going to be asleep for the entire thing, and he wasn't asleep. He was awake the whole time. So that was the biggest twist. Um, so let's break down, I think, how this is going to kind of affect each other, both of the candidates moving forward. So for Trump, there's one thing I heard today that I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to talk to you guys all about. One of the bases that Trump does really badly with is women, for obvious reasons, and women tend to. I think in the past, women voters tend to watch the debates much more than men. I don't know why, but women voters also tend to look like unfavorably at candidates who seem more impolite. I'm not sure why this has just been done. It's been shown through polling data. So I think like Trump's like complete like incredibly rude performance is going to really affect him negatively with the women voters, even more so than last election. So that was interesting. I think that Trump also didn't want Biden to speak because I don't think he wanted to have to like answer for the 200,000 people that died with COVID. Whether or not you think that's Trump's fault, it's irrelevant. 200,000 people died anyway. So, but I think this chaotic kind of way of speaking just did not work whatsoever because it showed that I think Trump just came across like kind of like a madman. And like there's been plenty of conservatives from my home state of Kansas, respect to Kansas, who have just been like they've taken their Trump signs down, they've taken their Trump flags down. Can you believe there's Trump flags? How cringy is that? Anyway, so like yeah, and they've just been super unhappy with it. So that's kind of interesting to think about. So I didn't think it was going to affect him that much. I basically thought that the conservatives were going to love him for this because he came across as like tough and like Reagan like or whatever. Uh, and I thought that like the Democrats were going to love Biden because Biden came across as like that presidential, like I'm going to restore order, yes. And like I don't know what that voice was, but yeah, so like I thought that's how it was going to be, but it wasn't. It was like people really didn't like the way that Trump handled himself. People really liked the way that Biden handled himself. Now, did Biden do great? Don't kid yourselves. Biden did better than we thought he would do, but again, that's not saying much. He did okay. He didn't do amazing. I think that he had a couple cool comebacks. Like I liked the one where he was like, Trump wouldn't know a suburb if he got lost in there or whatever. I don't remember what he said, and that was pretty funny. Although I did think in the opening Biden did come across kind of weak, and people may disagree with me on this, but I think that when Trump interrupted in the beginning, Biden like didn't really know how to come back with it. So like I think that Biden came across kind of weak and inferior in a way. I don't think he was inferior, but I think people will think that he looked that way if they're looking for like that really strong vibe or whatever that means when people are voting. Um, in general, though, like I said, I think this is actually going to hurt Trump. So there's like 30 days to the election. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that a lot can happen in 30 days. I mean, my goodness. Like 30 days ago feels like a year ago in my mind. So I wouldn't say it's over. Don't count Trump out yet. But I would say that, like, yeah, that definitely didn't help him. And Biden's already up 6% points, percentage points in the election, or in the like in the predictions and such for the election. So I don't know, man. I mean, I'm thinking that this really helped Biden because if you're ahead, you just don't want a loss. That's the old saying. How the old saying goes: if you're ahead in the polls in the presidency, in the debate, you just can't lose ground. You don't have to gain ground. You just can't lose ground. So I think that Biden didn't lose ground. I think he did okay. I'm gonna be biased here. I think that if we would have had my man Bernie in there, it would have been way better. But Biden, it is what it is. Biden did what he did. He was awake the whole time. Mazel tov to him for that. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. If you guys want to like shoot me a message on Instagram, Griffin_lamp is my Instagram. I'd love to hear you guys tell me that I'm totally wrong because that'd be interesting. I think there's actually been some trumpeters who have been on Twitter and have been like, oh no, you've no idea. Trump killed it. He was amazing. So I don't know. Some people think that, but I think a lot of the conservatives were not a fan of it. I actually had a family member who's a Trump supporter, and he told me that, or actually told my father rather. He said he was really disappointed. He said, I was really disappointed in the way the president acted, and I was like, yes, finally, I agree. So I think that people were more disappointed than impressed with Trump. Overall, though, I think Biden did a fairly good job. Not great. I think the main thing, though, and I heard this from another channel, but I wanted to talk about it here a little bit in my own words. I think that one of the main problems Trump had was that when he debated Hillary Clinton, people forget that Trump actually had some very specific like policy issues that he would bring up with Hillary Clinton that were just devastating. Like he would bring up like the fact that Hillary Clinton's husband Bill Clinton had like NAFTA, which exported like thousands of jobs. That was an effective point. Or he would talk about how like Hillary Clinton is a Washington insider and how she hasn't got anything done. I mean, what say what you will about Hillary Clinton, and I mean, like you may like her or you may not, but I gotta say, I don't think that she got much done. Most Americans don't think she got much done. So that attack really worked. With Biden, all it was, oh man, you're a commie. It's like, okay, come on, is he really? So like, I think the big problem is that Trump's debating style wasn't that much different than 2016, but his talking points were much worse and much less effective. Because saying that someone's a communist and a radical leftist when they're clearly not, just is not effective. So, I don't know. Overall, I would say that it was obviously a dumpster fire, like 2020 has been. I mean, what's new here? I mean, Woody's is shut down. COVID's been raging. Everything's just going terribly. The debate opened up with Chris Wallace being muted. I think that was intentional, but still pretty cringy and still quite 2020. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Peace.